Oh, hello. Hi. How's everybody doing? What's up? How are things? It's Wednesday. We're hanging around and I'm on the internet. I don't that's all I got. I don't know. I pushed all these buttons and then now we're here and I'm like, "Oh, hi. Hello there. What's going on? Your socks are damp." Yeah, well, that'll happen this time of year. You know, it's a wet sock. It's a wet sock time of year for sure. We've had some wet socks around here. The kids will just run outside with no shoes on. It has been raining. It rained a little bit a couple days ago, but not like it is up north. Not like it was up north with their bomb cyclones and all of that shit. It was like Seattle had no power for like 3 days or 4 days or something like that. Just like crazy. Um, ah, mm-hmm. Uh-huh. These are pretty good. These Hawaiian Punch C4s are pretty solid. It's a pretty solid drink. But it's not doing it for me. You know what I think I want a Tahitian treat themed energy drink. As much as I love Hawaiian Punch, I don't think it converts into a low calorie. I don't think low calorie Hawaiian Punch works. Just in a general sense, and then when you make it an energy drink on top of that, it kind of it is still identifiable as a Hawaiian Punch like flavor. But I want more. Turns out I just want to chug Hawaiian Punch for the rest of my days, which if you really went for it would only probably be like 2 or 3 days. I mean, it's not gonna, if you, at this point, I think if you just started chugging Hawaiian Punch all the time, that might go poorly. I don't know. Yeah, a little cactus cooler might be nice. A little cactus cooler might be nice. And the cactus cooler is overly sweet. I mean, they all are, right? But cactus cooler is so sweet. We moved to Southern California. I was very excited because I was like, "Oh shit, I can get cactus cooler now on the reg." And I got a few bottles. I got a case of it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm living the fucking life here." And suddenly, when you were surrounded by the ability to get cactus cooler all the time, it's like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't just sit here and drink and chug cactus coolers because there's nothing to stop me. When we would smuggle cases of cactus cooler up after E3, when we would buy them on our way back from E3, you would have like 2 cases of cactus cooler and that would have to last you a year. So you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a little cactus cooler here and there. But having ready access to it, it's dangerous. And also it kind of ruined the fun of cactus cooler. Del Taco, same deal. The ability to eat Del Taco on a regular basis is just like, yeah, this is cool, but it's like they have something now that they call the Dirty Del. You can order a Dirty Del, and it's a Dr. Pepper with like vanilla milkshake in it, and like a lime wedge, and that's the Dirty Del. I got a Dirty Del last night for the first time, and it was okay. I don't know. Could have probably used more. It probably could have used more vanilla flavoring or something like that. Like it just wasn't. It just wasn't. Wasn't enough. So yeah, here we are. I don't know, man. There's video games. Maybe I'll play some of them Maybe not. You never really know. They shut down XDefiant, or rather, they announced. We'll talk about it next week on the podcast. But they pulled the plug on XDefiant yesterday, which is not. People are losing their jobs. It's going to be fucking terrible, right? I mean, that's a fucking bad scene, right? It shouldn't have needed to go that way. But at the same time, like, there was nothing, you could probably go back to when they were running betas for XDefiant and find footage of me saying, yeah, this game ain't going to make it. This game is not going to last. But it lasted. I guess it will have made it longer than I thought it would have, because they're not going to shut it down until June. But also, if you have never played XDefiant, you can't play XDefiant. Like, there's no new signups, no new downloads. They've removed it from storefronts already. And yeah, so you can't. So I can play it, and I did play it a little bit last night, and was like, oh, right, and that was that. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm bummed. I'm bummed out by that, just because of, like, hey, like, there are aspects of that game that you look at and go, like, yeah, people did a good job modeling this gun, like, lighting this area, like, good work was done in the process of making that game. But just from a mile away, you look at it and go, like, yeah, this isn't gonna happen. Like, this game's not gonna, like, it's not gonna round the bend. It's not gonna turn the corner. It's not gonna pull the nose up. Whatever phrase you want to use. I think even people who liked the game would probably admit, like, yeah, it's not, it's probably not going to be, it's probably not going to attract enough players or whatever to make it work long term. So, yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating, because, like, and you just look at it and go, like, man, like, literally millions of dollars spent making that. And, like, I don't do any analyst work. I have not done any consulting work in this business. I'm not necessarily, that's something I may explore down the line. Who knows? But I have not done any work along those lines. I have just been covering this business for a long time, and the games in said business. Which I guess counts for something, but, like, it was not my point is, you don't need to be an analyst or a consultant to look at that game and go, yeah, no, like, you're not gonna, that's not gonna work for you long term. Like, it was one of the safest bets you could ever make, is to go, like, yeah, that's not gonna, that game's not gonna get it done. And it was not a situation where it was like, oh, because it's so terrible. It was more just like, yeah, this is, it's overly generic in some ways, and they tried to push it as, like, we're making the game that Call of Duty pros wish that they had, and it's got no skill-based matchmaking, and all this other stuff that you just look at and go, like, that's not a lasting, like, that's not a winning strategy. There are not enough people in that bucket to make your game work, and even if all those people were telling players all day long, you gotta download this game, yeah, that's not going to be enough for that thing to last. So I don't know. The writing's been on the wall for that thing for since the beginning, you could argue, but, like, really, there had been stories coming out about, like, oh, players are not monetizing as well as they thought they would, and you just look at it and go, yeah. Like, yeah, like, what are you going to buy skins in this thing? Are you going to go in here and they sold factions and some of this other stuff that you just go, like, I don't know, why? But I don't know what the answer is. Like, it's the answer isn't to just not make games, right? but like, how do like making games that like fall into the same bucket as the most popular games doesn't seem like a winning strategy anymore. And we'll see. Yeah, Marvel. Mupot says the answer is to make Marvel Overwatch. So sure, yes, Marvel Rivals will come out, and I bet that game will do fine. People seem like excited about it, I guess. And people are like, that is a game people are ready to drop. Like, people are like, yes, let's stop playing Overwatch. Like, there seems like there's a number of people that are in that bucket that are just like, yes, all these things about Overwatch that we fucking hate, it seems like they are doing a better job across the street, and they've got, I don't know, the Punisher, whatever. And so maybe that will end up working out. If anything's going to work out, like if anything is going to crack into like an established kind of modern free to play, whatever, like that seems like the one that will be able to kind of put down roots. But at the same time, like, I don't, there have been plenty of cases of licensed games not getting it done. I mean, even Marvel, with Marvel's Avengers, like that had its own problems. Star Wars Outlaws, kind of a different situation, but that's been disappointing on the sales front, I guess, for Ubisoft. But I don't know what is not a disappointment on the sales front for Ubisoft these days. They're like, it just feels like as these games get shut down, they're getting further and further backed into a corner. I look at XDefiant as like the long sad crawl of this like ongoing process that includes games like Hyperscape, and there was like the skateboarding, the wheeled, like it wasn't a skateboard, it was like a one wheel board or something, like the other game that Ubisoft had for a while there, of like, and also like the when they were doing the Division free to play game, and like just this long lineage of Ubisoft games in the free to play space that you just look at, and either they don't make it out the door at all, or they make it out the door and they fall apart, or whatever. And they've had this just long bad run with a lot of that stuff because Hyperscape wasn't. There were things I liked about Hyperscape, but what is there's the it's like it's a skateboarding game, but it's like a ball sport, like you're shooting a ball around, or you're getting a ball and shooting it, I think is what it is. I don't think you're shooting guns, but I can't remember. I remember I went through the tutorial and then tried like one match in it and was just like, whatever. But it was another Ubisoft game. Not Roller Bastard. Come on now. But it is Roller something. I don't know. So there's just been this Roller Drome. That's what it was. Yeah. Roller Drome. Because there was the other one that was like the Roll 7. Like there's the other game that was like the Roller Champions. That's the one. Yes. Roller Champions. Not Roller Drome. People, most people could not even name Roller Champions because of just how popular it was. And so, watching Ubisoft, and then you hear stories about like, the other free to play concepts that they were cooking up and bailed on, or the numerous times they were supposedly trying to kind of like crack into the battle royale space that they either bailed on, or with Hyperscape, actually shipped a thing and then, walked away from it. It's just, I don't know, like, what could they have spent that money on? A lot of things, really, but like Ubisoft just feels like they are completely fucking falling apart. I don't know, I don't know enough about their books to really get into that, but like, man, between people being really dissatisfied with a lot of their responses to the internal issues they were having with harassment and stuff like that, it seemed like that there were just a lot of really terrible responses from management, or a lot of like, we're on top of that then they did not act on. I know that there were people who left the company specifically because the company was not acting on on those sorts of things. And so once you've kind of like let that kind of environment fester at your company, why would good people go there? Everyone knows like, oh, it's fucking terrible here, when it comes to some of those things, that it is still a relatively toxic environment or whatever. I don't know what it's like there today, but like the word definitely got around that it was just, that's not a good place to work in a general sense. Some studios are probably better than others. And so once you've kind of reached a point where you're failing to attract top talent, because people don't want to work for your company, then what? You just end up, it becomes a bad cycle, right? And so you've got these games that aren't selling, so you've got more people leaving the company, more layoffs, more this, more that. The stink is on Ubisoft. And so the only people that, like the only, you would have to want to go in there saying, no, I'm going to be one of the people that helps fix this fucking place, and do the whole like eat a shit sandwich scenario and just keep eating until the problem is fixed. But like, in this climate, like, like who wants to do that? Especially with a publisher that just keeps like, I don't know, like they're just greenlighting bad ideas. Like I feel bad, like there's stuff about XDefiant that you look at and just go like, sure, dude, you're making a competitive first-person shooter. There aren't a lot of those, and so I see why you would want to make one or whatever. I see why one of those might get greenlit or whatever. But like I don't know. Like that company just feels like it's lacking in vision at the top, And yeah, they're like kind of quietly farting out these NFT games. With hope of some shit like that maybe catching on too, but they don't spend a lot of time talking about those. And so they've become this company that has like some relatively revered IP that hasn't been completely destroyed yet with Assassin's Creed, and there's still a lot of clans to go around. They are working on a new Division game, which is cool, and I think the Division has been really good, and I would very much like to play another one of those. People seem to like The Crew. I don't know how many people like The Crew, but in some way, shape, or form, there are fans of the Crew franchise out there as well. But man, it just seems like a lot of the steps they're taking, so just to try to grow and try to find new franchises or whatever, or try to crack into this free-to-play stuff, just seem ill-conceived at best. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to make any kind of sweeping statement. It's about like, here's what Ubisoft should do, because they've got stuff like Steep and Riders Republic. They've got all these other games that kind of like exist around the edges and get supported for a lot longer than it feels like that they should be, and that's good. That's a good thing. But like a lot of the stuff that they were riding on for a good long time sort of broke down. Far Cry has reached a point. Far Cry reached a point a couple of games ago, I think, where they needed to have a larger rethink of what they wanted to do with that game. And some of the Tom Clancy stuff has been, I don't know, as individual games, they're not necessarily terrible. Something like a Breakpoint or whatever. Not an awful game, but on the run of games they were on when that game came out, it was a feeling of just like, okay, you kind of just open worlded this in the way that you did everything else, and it's just like, that's probably a game that, as someone who played some Breakpoint this calendar year, that is a game that is a little bit more fun to play, removed from the sludge of a bunch of those games coming out. Like now that Ubisoft is not shipping as many games, I'm like, a little Breakpoint's nice. And I really like Star Wars Outlaws. I think it's a hell of a game. But they ran into some kind of fucking insane market force on that one that people just didn't want it. Or rather, not enough people wanted it. I don't think it's necessarily like a dismal failure or something like that, but they have said as much, that it's not necessarily doing the numbers that they thought it would do. So I don't know, man. Like, it just feels like that they have developed their way into a weird corner. And I don't know, like people are like, oh, they need to make a Splinter Cell, but do you really want the current Ubisoft to reboot Splinter Cell? Do you really trust them to do it right with the run they've been on lately? I don't know, man. Like, that's kind of there are ups and downs with that, because they reboot Splinter Cell, it ends up not doing well, and then it's dead forever because Ubisoft can't catch a break and can't sell a game these days. They had to delay Assassin's Creed and do all this other stuff too, and the new Assassin's Creed looks fine. I don't know, like it looks like it'd probably be cool. Like, it's an interesting setting and the characters look neat and stuff, but like I'm having a hard time like getting excited about it, and that should be the type of game that I'm excited about, of like, oh, okay, yeah, it looks like they're doing a bit more of a departure from the Assassin's Creed games that they have been making into something a little different. And that is what I want, is something a little different from the Assassin's Creed games they have been making, because those were good, but you could maybe make the case that they were way too fucking long. And just kind of samey, I guess you should say. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know what you do if you're in charge over there, other than walk away from it, because maybe your time has come. But I don't, like, if you're Ubisoft and you got to sit there and go like, what the fuck are we gonna do from here? Like, yeah, we got a pipeline, we got some games in the works and all this other stuff, but like, are those games gonna turn the corner for us? Are those games gonna like get things back together where we need to be? What do we need to greenlight next? What do we need to, and they made the change to where, more and more of their games are coming to Steam, which is like a smart business change, just to get some of these games in front of more players. I don't think that, launching day and date on Steam was something that was going to make XDefiant work, for example, because, those games shipped on console as well. It's not like it's only on the Uplay client or whatever. Console players also voted with their not dollars on that one. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird... it's just another example of just how fucking weird things are right now, I guess. Especially at that, that AAA level and everything else. What they should do is they should make another what do they call that game? I thought it was called Go Home, but it's not. The game where you climb. The game where you climb. The Ubisoft game in which you climb? Grow Home. Yes. Grow Home. That was a cool game. Very small, and grow up. Yeah. Grow up. Yeah. They could make a new Rayman game. I don't think that would. Yeah, I don't know. Like, would it be meaningful for them from a business perspective to invest in a bunch of smaller projects? Like if they did a new Rayman game, it's not going to be some $100 million, whatever. But if they just kind of got into a bunch of smaller games that would help distribute the risk around a little bit, instead of spending a zillion years making Skull and Bones and then shipping Skull and Bones. I don't know. It's a fucking weird one, man. I think it's this is one of those situations where you just go like, hey man, if you run into someone who says they know exactly what Ubisoft needs to do to turn the corner, they're lying to you. Like, don't trust that person. But yeah, yes, you're right. To a certain extent, that is the entire industry is going through a lot of that stuff right now. And it gets scary. I don't know, like it's weird, man. It's weird covering games for this long, because you look at it like anytime there's been a lull or whatever where like, oh, we had a rough generational transition and fewer games were coming out for a little while, and like everything kind of evens out. Eventually you just go like, okay, now everything's kind of back on track. It was a weird couple of years, but whatever. But like now we're, I don't know, 3 or 4. This whole generation has been really fucking strange. This whole console generation, but like things have been weird for about that long, if not a little bit longer. And what do you do? It's something that is affecting games big and small. It's not just the major publishers that are going through these kind of situations. Like a lot of indie developers, a lot of the kind of publishers that were publishing indie games have kind of hit onto some weird times as well. And so that's going to have a knock-on effect on the types of projects that are getting signed and greenlit and whatever else. And so you just have this situation where really across the board, everything feels real fragile, I guess I would say. Everyone feels like they are like one game away from shutting their doors. Where it's like, oh, if this one doesn't get it done, then 800 people are losing their job on big games, or like, on smaller games, it's like, okay, this entire studio is gone because, Casey Hudson's studio just shut down. Like they haven't even shipped a game, and, they had a universe and all this other stuff. Like that's a bet you would place. That I feel like in any kind of healthy industry right now, would you place a bet on like, I think Casey Hudson is the person that could lead a team to ship a good sci-fi game that would get over the line and actually be exciting, and we could market it and we could do this, and maybe it's not immediately going to be the next Mass Effect size-wise, but like, or like sales-wise or whatever. Not that, but this is something that we think will make its money back. That would be a normal thing that you would go like, oh yeah, of course. And then, whoever they had funding things, it sounds like the way they put it was like, oh, they hit a funding shortfall and that's it. Done. Gone. That's not a sign of like a healthy industry, I think. And you see all of these numbers going around about, oh, well, the video game industry's got this many millions of people and this many that. And it's like, yeah, they're all playing Roblox and Fortnite and Call of Duty and Minecraft and GTA Online. Like they're all huddled into this very small number of games. And mobile and all this other stuff where, like there's a whole crowd of people that are gaming in a way that counts for these numbers that are not necessarily interacting with the types of games that we're talking about here, because they're, Apple Arcade subscribe. No, I don't know. They're downloading games on their phone and they're playing them. And so, it's just and that's the sort of stuff that I look at and go like, I don't know what the way back from that is. Because like, what do people... Like the terrifying thing would be people get sick of, let's say Fortnite turns a corner and people are just done. They're just like, oh, remember Fortnite? Oh yeah, man, I used to play that all the time. Like Fortnite turns a corner, it's not cool anymore. People walk away from it. They're, we could say Roblox, anything, any one of these. What if they don't go on to play anything else? What if they don't have an appetite to get into other video games? They just go like, oh, that was cool. Yeah, no, video games? No, I don't play video games. I played Fortnite for 6 years or so, but no, I don't play games. And they don't ever transition into playing any of these other products that come out and buying any other video games and whatever else. They just they had Fortnite was the fad they were into for 6 or 7 years, and then they fell off, and that was that. That's almost worse. If any one of these games were to fail or just kind of fall off, and then people were not engaged enough in video games as a whole, that they just were like, yeah, that's cool. And I had roommates like that, like my roommate who only played Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. and we played SOCOM together and all that other stuff. Like when he moved out, he left all his video game stuff behind. He was just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I got this PS2 or whatever. And that was that. Both my roommates actually left when they moved out. They left like all their console stuff behind. They were never super serious players, I don't think. But yeah, just kind of a weird, just a weird. I would never do I would never do that. I'd be like, I'm leaving all these videos. Maybe I'd leave a PS2 behind, but only because I have like 7 of them, But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird, it's a tough thing to think about because, like I said, you kind of don't really know. It's hard to get a feel for where this is all going to go, but none of it feels great, right? Like none of it. Like you see little signs of hope, and you see little signs like, okay, there's cool, and like I was saying yesterday, like I think there were a lot of great games that came out this year. And so we're still seeing like high quality things coming out, and that's very exciting. But like how long is that gonna be? And what's gonna happen along the way? I don't mean to be like super like doom and gloom. It's just like I just think when there's a lot of like stuff about the video game industry that is straight fucked, and people are gonna need to find a new way. Like sort of like covering video games, right? I mean, and you see that. You see that in these businesses that exist around video games, right? Where the ad market has crashed, and journalism has its own problems that are not exclusive to video games. Like, if you think about it, sometime in the mid-90s, people decided we're going to publish all of our stuff for free, and we're going to put ads on every page. And so we went from going into a store and buying a copy of Game Informer or Game Pro or EGM or whatever to going to Happy Puppy, going to GameSpot and looking at an ad on a page and getting used to not paying for anything. And getting used to not subscribing to anything, and getting used to all of this stuff being available for free. And that business model worked until it didn't. And now it's completely fucked because the ad market is straight dog shit. And so, putting ads on a web page in an era when everyone is just visiting social media networks is not going to get you anywhere. Running videos on your own web page and trying to sell your own ads on said videos instead of just putting your videos on YouTube where videos live and taking your cut of whatever their rev split is, doesn't work, and so a lot of the things about, just straight up like let's build a website and let's monetize it the way that we used to monetize it, just not a thing anymore. And that, again, that's something that's not exclusive to video games, right? Like that's journalism in general, finding ways to make it, like, if not profitable, then at least like a break-even business, is very difficult right now. And I think the number of people, like, how many, like CNN launched a subscription service and they have stories that go up for subscribers only. I could never in a million years imagine going, I'm going to pay CNN so that I can read these, 10 extra, whatever, stories that they run, that's crazy, right? So I think that it's a thing where, the number of people that, and hey, like I'm on Patreon, for example. There's a number of people who are willing to pay for greater access to a thing. But it's a niche. It's a much smaller, like, it's not a big mainstream model, and so you can have things like Aftermath. You can have things like remap radio. You can have things like no clip, and you'll have like a dedicated group of people who really like a thing that will subscribe to it to get more. And I think that's a totally viable business model, and I think it's working out well. And you know, it's shaky. Sometimes it's a little freaky, but like it's good. But like, does that scale in a way that like matters to bigger businesses? Does that scale in a way that like, would CBS ever want to really care about a subscription-based video game website? I might say no. So, you know, it's a very rickety world out there for a lot of that stuff. At scale, in larger, in a larger sense, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. You still have these like legacy websites that are still out there and still technically exist, and they're still putting even more ads on their page every day. You know, like IGN has existed for how long? Like what? You know, they're 25 years, 30-ish years, somewhere in there. GameSpot started in 96. So they launched in like, I think it was May of 96. And then I started not long after that. So like, is that website going to make it to 30 years? I have no idea. Like, sure, yes, in some form it probably will, because it'd be cheaper to leave it up than it would to shut it down, I guess. But like, when was the last time that thing was profitable? Ooh. So yeah, it's just you know, I don't know. Like, you kind of need there needs to be a shift in thinking around subscriptions and that sort of concept, right? So, and that's something that it's a much easier thing for me to talk about here now, because it's me. Hi. Would you like to subscribe to me and get, you know, ad-free podcasts, all this stuff? You go to patreon.com/Jeff Gerstmann. It's a very simple transaction that does not have a bunch of weird middlemen in it. The idea of, hey, hi, I'm the editor-in-chief of a website owned by a major corporation, and you should subscribe to it. Like, I don't think that doesn't work as well, because, you know, people look at it and go like, well, why would I give money to this major corporation? And so there was, I think Aftermath ran the story that was just like, more people should start websites. And I agree. More small websites. It's the only way. Like, there was a time when every website was small because there weren't that many people on the internet to begin with. And so, you know, the idea of like launching your own site and starting your own thing and existing kind of outside the platforms of, you know, YouTube and, you know, Twitter, obviously, but like existing outside of all of that stuff matters. Of course, now we've got an incoming president that is appointing people that want to end net neutrality, and that's not a good thing for anyone, unless you own Comcast, I guess. And so, you know, yeah, there's just even the idea of let's start a small website is about to become somehow even ricketier than it already was. So yeah, it's a weird fucking time for everything. You know, all these business models that have existed for decades and decades, and, you know, whether they're ad supported or whatever else, like a lot of that stuff has been just bulldozed and not replaced with anything. And I don't know. Like, I always kick around ideas for just like, well, what would you, maybe it would be this, maybe that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think that doing something on a large scale, you know, there's an audience that just doesn't want to be pulled out of the platforms that they're already on. It's very easy to sit here and go like, we've got to stop. We've got to be able to put our own video up on our web pages, and we've got to be able to run this. We've got to be able to run that. And it's very easy to say that. But at the end of the day, actually pulling an audience out of these places and saying, no, you need to start bookmarking websites again. There's a lot of inertia there that you'd have to overcome. And this was something, you know, I've talked about it before, but we were in talks years ago with a streaming service called Verve. That was it was like an offshoot of Crunchyroll or whatever it was. It was like they were going to sign some deals and sign some existing production places. But they came into the meeting and they were like, yeah, we got Rooster Teeth. They're gonna get off YouTube and they're only gonna be on our service. And I'm like, really? You really paying them enough money to walk away from YouTube? Because I'm pretty sure they're making a lot of money on YouTube. I think that would probably be very expensive to do, and it just seemed like a very that's strange, but okay. And they launched and I think as soon as they launched and they saw what their numbers were looking like after launch, a lot of conversations just stopped happening. But and that never happened. But there was a lot of talk around that sort of stuff about pulling people off of YouTube, paying, going to okay, well, all the top talent's on YouTube. It's not. People say that all the time. People have been saying it forever. There's the next celebrities are coming from YouTube. You're like, okay, yeah. What are you gonna do with them? You're like, we're gonna put them in stuff. We're gonna get them off of there and put them onto the platforms that we already know how to monetize. And no, you're not actually, because the YouTube audience likes YouTube. The thing that everyone discovered, if they didn't know it already, was and Twitch is a lot of these platforms. Okay, this is the people that are watching this stuff watch it and they like to watch it here. If you move it somewhere else, you are going to lose a lot of people who are there because they like that site more than they like that person. And they watch a lot of other people on that site, and they, those sorts of scenarios, right? And so everyone learned that the people that are on YouTube, you can't really pull them off YouTube without really fucking them up, without really fucking up their business. I'm sure there's exceptions to it, but Ninja was a great example of that, I think, to a certain extent, when they paid Ninja to stream on Mixer. It didn't suddenly make Mixer massive overnight. It didn't save Mixer. People were just like, oh, where's Ninja? He's not online? Okay, well, I'm going to watch any one of these 9 other channels I follow, and that's that. And that was that. It wasn't enough to pull people off of Twitch. And so, yeah, that becomes a problem too. You've got these very entrenched audiences. Well, it's a problem if you want to try to launch your own separate thing, right? If you want to exist inside of these platforms and you're stoked to, give all of these platforms 30% of, or what do you mean, sometimes even worse, of the money, then hey. And I feel fine about that, because I think if you were to take whatever money I've got coming in from YouTube views or whatever, which is not, it's not a ton of money. Twitch, it's whatever. It's the amount of money it would cost me as a solo person, as a one-person business, to go and launch a website with a white label video player and handle all the bandwidth myself, and then respond to technical support from people in Australia because the videos don't load right, because no videos load right in Australia unless you're YouTube, because YouTube can afford to fucking put their CDNs everywhere to ensure that it has good performance around the world. That's going to cost me more than whatever I am paying YouTube to host videos. And so, with the way things are, that's a fair trade from where I'm sitting. Of course, they own the platform and they can change the terms of the deal at any moment. And that's the constant shaky fear of making things online, is you just look at it and go yeah, man, I don't know. I make this and it goes here. And what if this changes? What if this goes away? What if Twitch changes this? What if this, there's just a, what if Patreon alters its terms? Then what? I was like, okay, well, I'll go to Ghost and I could self-host through Ghost and do all this other stuff, and but like there's just a lot of risk associated with all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just very shaky across the board. And so, like, things are tough all over, I guess, is the conclusion there. It's, the existing, I feel really good about where I'm at. But like I said, if the terms of those deals change in terrible ways, like that'd be, be like, okay, well, I don't know. Is the gas station hiring? What do we? So there's a lot of weird risk associated with that. But at least I'm not a 20-plus-year-old website trying to figure it out. Like there's a silver lining to it, and it's like at least I don't have to figure out how to fucking write news stories that get indexed in a search engine. Because Jesus Christ, that ain't gonna work. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know what Ubisoft should do. So, they should make better video games. It's easy, right? Everyone just make great video games, and it will all work out in the end. I don't know. We were talking about this last week, and then ended up not playing it, but I do still have it installed. This Zaccaria Pinball that has been out on Steam for years, I think, but I thought it might be cool to just kind of play some of that.
Get ready for the ride. You're out again.
I must click on the logo to continue. So this is like a weird collection of, some of these pinball tables are real, and they've done remakes of the tables. Like the amount of DLC they've sold for this thing over the years is absolutely crazy, because they've just released a ton of stuff. I think like as I dig through this and look at the tables that are in here, I think the only one I am familiar with is Soccer Kings.
Retro.
No, it's not even this one though. Like, because there's like 4 different versions of Soccer Kings in here, because they've gone and remade it. I guess I probably want. No, we don't. Well, we want solid state. Yeah, 1982. This is probably the. Yeah, this is the one. These menus.
Come on, boys, let's see some real football.
Is this what do we got? No. Hang on. We got to adjust some controller settings here, because that's not working at all. Will it magically start to work now that okay, good.
Shoot to the center. Great, you're in the attack zone.
So it's got this upper play field where you play soccer. Oh.
A miss.
And then British computer voice talks to you.
Pass the ball.
But I always liked playing this game at the arcade that I most frequented, because it had this cool upper playfield thing where you could try to shoot the ball like you were playing soccer. I was like, that's cool. The rest of the table may be a little underwhelming.
Pass to the center. Pass to the center. Pass the ball. Pass the ball.
Nah. Yes, Snuffy says, remember the dirt bike themed pinball machine where the vertical board had a playfield? Yes, it's called Bonsai Run. Bonsai Run is actually, I think, if not this week, then next, but Bonsai Run is coming to Pinball FX imminently. In whatever their next pack of DLC is, which, that's cool. I continue to not like the physics in those games, but I will certainly try that out. I thought it was supposed to come out like the 8th or something like that, but maybe I'm wrong. When I'm done here, I'll check my email because I'm pretty sure I got. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
The center forward has the ball over the top.
Oh.
The goal line. Oh.
Ah.
The center forward has the ball over the top into the goal line.
What the fuck?
Oh. Over the top. Pass to the goal mouth. Watch out for the referee. Goal.
Like I was hitting it too hard and it was like bouncing off the back or something. Which is like broken. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Goal! Thank you, British computer man.
Pass the ball. Pass to the center. Great. You're in the attack zone. Shoot. Oh.
Oh.
Pass to the goal mouth. Goal. Pass to the center. Pass to the wing. Watch the attack. Oh. A miss. Shoot to the center.
Ah.
Shoot to the center. Pass to the center. Great, you're in the attack zone. Shoot. Pass to the center. Goal. Over the top. Pass to the goal mouth. Goal. Shoot to the center. It's the orange special.
What? Did he just say that was the orange special?
It's the orange special.
I guess so. That sounds like one of those disgusting sex terms that only British people use.
It's the orange special. It's the orange special.
Like after a long night of dogging,
Pass to the it's the orange special. Great, you're in the attack zone.
comes the orange special.
Pass to the center. Oh, over the top. Pass to the goal mouth. Watch out for the referee. Oh. Over the top. Pass to the goal mouth. Watch out for the referee.
Those should all be goals. Like, these should all be dropping. It's weird. I do not remember that being a problem with this table of just like you hit it too hard and it bounces back. Like those are all supposed to drop. If I remember right.
It's the orange special. It's the orange special. Pass the ball. You're the soccer king. Shoot to the center.
I'm the soccer king. I'm the footy lord. Do I have any thoughts on Metroid Prime Pinball? That is my thought on Metroid Prime Pinball.
Shoot to the center. Pass the ball. Pass to the center.
Ow. This is a time-limited bonus ball. In previous ball, you got 1 second bonus time per 3 events. You can play for that time you took.
The last ball. Game time bonus.
Game time bonus. Come on, can we shoot the ball here?
Shoot to the center.
Yeah, so just like an actual soccer game, there's some weird timer shit at the end that doesn't make any sense.
Pass to the center.
It's like, I don't know, you got an extra 40 something for something. I don't know. All right, that's it. Yeah, so I think that's literally the only pinball machine in this entire collection that I have ever seen. It's like this was like what, an Italian company? Zaccaria? I don't remember the exact lineage, but
Get ready for the ride. Careful.
with such hot tables as Clown,
Remake.
Clown Remake. You guys like Clown?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Clown. Pick your favorite.
Oh, I hate this.
Kickback is lit.
Kickback is lit. I'm gonna get. I should be doing more voice acting.
Almost time to juggle. Multi-ball 100,000. Start mode is lit.
But I only want to do bad voice act. It's time to play. You know, just like really unpleasant voice work.
100,000.
I guess there are probably enough indie horror games that there would probably be room for a lot of crappy voice work on my phone. Hey, you wanna play some pinball?
Jackpot. Double jackpot.
I'm a murder clown. I saw a picture. I'm not gonna get into this.
Triple jackpot.
I saw an image that was a good reminder for me. You know, we like to have fun around here, and I like a video game, a classic video game called Mr. Do. Mr. Do is a cool-ass video game. Mr. Do's got a cool ball that bounces around in the dirt, and you collect cherries, and it's got great music. And you know, they made a really good sequel to it, and then some really bad sequels to it, if you're not familiar. But I saw what appeared to be some Mr. Do fan art the other day. It was a good reminder that, like, while I like Mr. Do, and I respect Mr. Do, I fucking hate clowns, man. I don't like clowns. I'm not like scared of clowns. I just think clowns are fucking creepy, man. But Mr. Do is from a different era when I think clowns were like, just clowns could just be clowns.
2 million. Everybody freeze. 10,000.
What I'm saying is you could not make Mr. Do today because of woke. This table sucks. It's like here's this kind of large upper half area with not a lot going on. Just some bumpers in a separate zone. And then all of these kind of very basic targets on the bottom half that just sort of loop around.
Let's play some cards. 100,000. 100,000. Bonus times 2.
Bonus times 2.
Multi-ball. Jackpot. Double jackpot. Triple jackpot.
Still on my first ball over here. Having the clown game of a lifetime over here. The funny thing about this game is that they made so much DLC for it that like people seemingly did not buy, that there are, and they added achievements with all of that DLC. And so if you want to filth up your rarest achievement showcase on your Steam profile, there's a lot of pretty rare achievements in this package.
Stop moving.
Oh, none of these though. These are all in the 5% range. Most of my rarest achievements are under 1%. Including some of the Steam achievements for Dive Kick. A few of those are pretty rare. I also have like ones that will never change because I have like super rare achievements from Marvel Heroes.
Almost time to
And
double.
there was
Multi-ball is lit.
there was one really rare achievement that was like, I guess, really easy to get if you had the expensive edition of Firefall. Remember that piece of shit? There was something where, like, if you had bought the expensive version of the game, you had a vehicle, and I think there's an achievement for, like, you drove a car. And so I have the you drove a car achievement in Firefall, and that is like super rare because who the fuck played Firefall? I tried playing Firefall for like a week. It was fucking terrible, dude. What a fucking... Oh, man. For all the years they spent and all the money. Imagine the amount of money they spent like with the Firefall bus, and we got the Firefall booth at PAX and all this. The game is just fucking garbage, dude. It's a great punchline, though. Always was. I feel obligated to play a full game of Clown, despite very much wanting to walk away from this game of Clown. I've got to file my high score. I'm in 169th place. I think from an audio perspective, having a situation where you shoot a ball up a ramp and goes and loops all the way around the table and having 0 sound effects to acknowledge that is like bad work.
50,000.
This has some of that and pinball effects, a lot of the kind of like not the license tables, because people making license tables were like good at it. But there are a lot of the, you know,
210,000.
a lot of the games they made. Even some of the licensed ones there, like, you know, I think are actually kind of bad at it.
250,000.
250,000. Great. Wizard Puncher. I got the achievement for Wizard Puncher. Maybe I'll play one more table here. Maybe I'll find one that... What does deluxe mean in this context? Like, look at this art. It's so bad, dude. Robot Deluxe. I guess they did postal tables, huh? I guess they did some license tables too. Like the other guys are out there doing Doom and Fallout and all this other stuff. What do you guys got? We made postal tables. Wait, story? Wait, what? Wait, what? What? Story mode is a time travel across pinball machines. Pinball tables come one after the other when a specific goal is completed. That's an interesting idea that we're not going to play. Yeah, I'm going to play a game of Hippie. Hippie, he says. Y'all want to play some Hippie? You guys want to come over and play some Hippie? No, sir, I do not. Yeah, I'm shopping out. You know, I got to lube up the playfield and replace all the rubbers on my hippie machine. On my hippie cabinet, on my hippie table. It's hippie time. Oh. Dirty hippie machine fucking me over. Also, my controller is just vibrating like almost non-stop. Well, all right. We should at least look at... Also, it's really weird that these, you know, they've made... So they made a retro, they made a solid state version, they made a remake, and they made a deluxe. But what is that? Are any of these actually... And then they did the same for Postal 2. I'm a Postal 1 guy. It's back when it meant something. Back before they completely shit all over anything that could have ever resembled a legacy for the Postal franchise.
Today is a good day to die.
Retreat!
I need backup!
Wait, so they decided not to do Steam achievements for this one, so instead they just made it pop up a gigantic display that says achievement unlocked.
I need pull back.
Like, what are we doing?
I need backup.
Retreat!
This is a terrible looking tape. I mean, it's just so plain.
Today is a good day to die.
Is that even original Postal audio? Like, it sounds so much cleaner. Like, maybe they had access to the original files, but like, I mean, that sounds vaguely... I don't know. I think the only line of dialogue in the original Postal that matters is when he says, like, only my weapons understand me.
Today is a good day to die.
I need retreat! Take cover!
And the only cool thing about Postal is that there was a button you could push that would make you turn the gun on yourself and blow your brains out, and then that would be the end of your game. Like, actually playing Postal was not fun. It was never a good game.
Shots fired!
Retreat! Where's my backup?
Time limited bonus ball, just like the soccer game.
Today is a good day to die.
All right, well, we'll just bounce the ball around for 15 seconds and get some points here, and then it'll end. I don't know. It's a very underwhelming table, but I think that's my take on a lot of the tables in this collection. Is this, even the real ones, like, they're all just kind of boring, you know? Well, maybe Clown was better in 1985. Maybe the original release of Clown is where... Bow, bow. I'll take these sound effects over, like, insanely bad clown voice, I guess. I cannot. I will not. We must not. Oh, come on. What's going on here? Why is this camera not here anymore? Hello? Why is this camera not here anymore? What happened? Is it... No, for real, though. Why isn't this camera here anymore? Let's, No? Why isn't this, why, the device is there. Let me see, because I made some minor changes that, let me see if the camera just magically turned off or something dumb like that. I'm going to stand up. Still dark. That's not good. It's going good. I hope everyone is having a good Wednesday. So, turns out if I have the screen on the camera folded in, it takes that as a sign that it should shut off after a certain amount of time, which is not what we want to happen. So I'm going to have to leave that screen folded out, even though it is under a shroud because I bought a teleprompter. This whole teleprompter thing is starting to seem like more trouble than it was worth. Alas. It will be fine. Let me look at pinball. Let me look at pinball. No, that's right. I was going to check my email. I got an email about the Bonsai Run stuff coming to Pinball Effects. Let me figure out what it was they said in that press release. I'm typing the words Bonsai Run. Okay, it's not December 8th. It's Volume 8, and it is out sometime in December. So it's out sometime this month. It's a 3-pack. It's a 3-table pack with Bonsai Run, Earthshaker, and a to-be-revealed 3rd table. Okay. Bonsai Run is a cool pinball machine. That's cool that they're going to do a digital version of it. Officially, let's say. Officially a Bonsai Run table, and not something we're running in VPX or whatever the heck the bootleg pinball kids are into these days. Last few times I tried to set all that stuff up, I couldn't get it working right. I used to have everything all set up perfectly for that, and it was rad. But I have not had good luck with it the past few times I've tried. But yeah. Williams Pinball Volume 8 is what they're going to be releasing here sometime this month. What else is going on? Happy holidays from poorly named company that you've never heard of. Okay, all right. Yeah. The public-facing email address on my YouTube account still gets insane, weird stuff all the time. They really wanted me to play some mobile Marvel game. They're like, I kept getting nonstop emails about do a sponsored stream for this, and you could earn this much money. Like, all right, yeah, I guess I could earn this much money if I duped everyone watching into playing the game for 10 hours or more. Sure, like that might happen, but like that's not going to happen. So you offering me this amount of money is basically, you are lying. I mean, you're not lying, but it is deceptive, let's say. I was gonna there was something else I was going to launch here, and we were going to take a look at another video game, but what the hell was it? My mind! Ah! Huh. Anyway. I'm looking at the installed games here, and none of them are ringing a bell, and none of them are like, oh yeah, this was the one. I was like, let's play this. I have not played this, so let's play this. Let's play this. The other thing about this teleprompter is that it is a little rickety, and so every time I touch the camera, the whole shot moves, and I hate that the most of all. I want to take this and that's a little closer. Okay. This looked interesting, interesting enough for me to want to install it. That is not true. The controller is very much connected. I set Steam to not enable Steam input automatically for games, and it is very hit and miss. This game says it supports a DualSense controller. But it is lying, I think. So let's relaunch it. Stalker 2 still does not work with a DualSense. Which I think is really... I mean, obviously they've got bigger fish to fry. There are much larger bugs in that game for them to fix. But that just seems like something that I thought that Steam just kind of automatically handled. And so it's really weird to me that it just doesn't work. And so every time I want to play Stalker 2, which I will admit to you is not that often, I have to unplug my controller and plug in an Xbox controller because for whatever reason it just isn't working. Like Steam Input is supposed to solve these problems, like for developers that don't want to directly support it, right? And that's the whole point. This game's called Rogue Flight. This is a pretty fucking solid opening. Like, this is selling me on the game in a way that it's almost going to be impossible for the game to hold up to this, but hopefully it will. Shit. Okay.
It's been 3 years since the world burned.
I guess three. Yeah, three.
It was
Yeah,
Argus,
three-ish.
the Watchman system given control of the Solar Defense Force. Dr. Mason said it was inevitable, that it was the nature of all complex systems to grow beyond their original intended purpose. But then,
Give or take.
hindsight is easier than foresight, and caution is always the first victim of progress. We don't know how long it took for it to decide to turn on its masters. Once it did, they say the war, if you could call it that, was over in less than 72 hours. 72 hours for the Earth Defense Force to be vaporized by an automated...
It's about
fleet
time
of
someone took care of the
ships,
EDF.
and for centuries of
I'll say.
humanity's achievements to be wiped off the face of the planet. Those of us spared from the destruction would subsist on a meager existence beneath the ruins of civilization. For 3 years, we hid, foraged, survived. Until, below the ruins of New Alberta, we found it.
Future Canadians, our greatest fear.
Nearly a mile long, protected by the mountains above it from the orbital strike. We only knew about it because of Griffin. Some stubborn, dogged resolve in that old warhorse that kept him searching since the first days of our exile. Hidden
You know, with the intro being pretty long and and now this being pretty long, this is pretty long.
A light space fighter with a singularity-driven core, an engineering marvel.
Like, it's not bad.
Fastest,
It's just
most maneuverable spacecraft ever conceived.
it's kind of a little long.
I was a pilot before the world was turned to ash, ferrying payloads to the orbital platforms that represented our first steps to the stars. But this was like nothing I've ever flown before. Only a few weeks from completion, the world burned before it could make its first flight. And it's why I'm here now. As the only member of our group with any flight experience, it falls to me to shoulder the burden of what comes next. To take the arrow and bring the fight back to Argus. 3 years ago, it won the battle it started with us in 72 hours. But the war it started isn't over.
Oh man, it's still talked. Okay, all right. At least this is the launch of the tutorial.
Engaging the sim now.
Some drones will drop items like weapon upgrades or health. Pull back on the right stick to slow down and activate vortex to suck in. Okay. You need to catch the item as it is propelled towards you. Destroy drone. Okay.
Wait.
Recharge with health pickups, or if you take out 4 or more enemies quickly, combo meter will activate and recharge shields. Up on right stick to deflect shots and lock onto out of range targets. Okay, so we get like a...
Energy ready. Energy ready. Energy ready.
We get to hit our afterburners, if you will. And then down to suck it up, up to go. Try aiming with drift. Well, drift. Okay.
Energy ready.
Right or left on the right stick. Oh, what the fuck?
Energy ready.
Wait, okay. Press right or left on the right stick to drift and use the wing trail attack to take out groups of enemies. Try aiming while drifting with the left stick. So does the trails off of my ship do damage? Is that what that is? The wing trail attack. I guess that's... Oh, they got a video down here in the corner. Okay, yeah. So you kind of whip it around and sort of do a thing. Okay. Weird. And I guess that's that, huh? Okay.
Ready for taxi. Red alarm, check. Magnetic accelerator channel is primed.
We're going to play Red Alarm? Do we have to?
Coordinates set. All systems are green. Our
signatures detected. Here they come.
Energy ready. Energy ready. Energy ready.
That's yeah, okay.
Energy ready. Energy ready. Passive. Energy ready.
Feels like it's hard for me to
Energy ready. Awesome.
hit enemies that are on the far left side of the screen because the aiming reticle just doesn't go there.
Energy ready.
I guess, yeah, I can only... It's like my aiming reticle is locked into like almost like a 4x3 box in the center of the screen, you know? But I can still get those guys that are passing me with this little whip attack, I guess.
Energy ready. Energy ready. Excellent.
Give me those.
Missiles.
Okay.
Energy ready. Energy ready.
Looks like you stirred the hornet's nest.
Energy ready. Passive. Missiles. Passive. Energy ready.
So I feel like Afterburner does a really good job of like
Missiles.
giving you a manageable number of things to do at any given time. Talking about the arcade version, you know, because you got a throttle, you got your throttle stick, and then you're just kind of aiming, and you know, and then you can do barrel rolls if you want, and that's kind of it. This feels like it's maybe just like one too many things, like one more thing than it needs to have. And it's leading to a situation where I feel paralyzed at every encounter because I don't, because it's like, and you know, early part of a game, right? So,
Stratus inbound. Go for the
but it's this feeling of like, oh wait, what do I do this time? What do I do this time? What attack would be good for this? And so I feel like I'm floundering every single time, you know, as whatever. I just don't have a feel for it. What if I shoot my thrusters back at your thrusters? It's a really good soundtrack. I like visually, like aesthetically, this is fucking cool as hell. Faster drift cooldown. Okay, I guess why would we not take that?
Orbital window achieved. I'm breaking Atmo.
Good work. The scope's clear. Take a breather while you can.
You're not out of the woods yet. You've got to clear the Badlands before you can engage the sublight drive.
I'm in space. What are we? Badlands? Come on now.
The orbital
Oh, okay.
graveyard
Please explain the
2,000
Badlands.
kilometers above the Earth's surface, left in the wake of Argus's onslaught. A sea of orbiting debris traveling around the planet at over 15,000 kilometers per hour.
The core's magnetic field should protect you from the smaller debris, but you'll need to watch out for anything larger.
And the ray scattering from all that scrap should limit Argus's ability to track you.
You make it sound as if I should count my blessings. Well, you're certainly going to need them.
You're gonna make your way through the Badlands. Be on the lookout for large debris that might be in your path.
Like that. Turns out there's bad guys here too.
You've been detected. More units incoming.
This is a very neat game. I really like its style, and I'm kind of warming up to the particulars of how it plays. I will say, I wish I had, let's say, 100 missiles instead of 6. But that's just that is the afterburner talking, you know. That thruster whip attack ends up being like the coolest thing in the game. For as weird as it seemed in that tutorial. Wait, is this a thing I'm going through? What am I looking at here?
It's a reclaimer. Take out its defenses to expose its core.
What can I even hit on this thing? Ah, there we go. Turns out, a bunch of fucking red beams coming my way that my eyes are incapable of seeing are very dangerous. Ah, yes. It's time to shoot the tubes. Dog meat. Yes, trim? Yes, please. Oh. Yes, give me digital camo in space. Okay, so these mods stay unlocked. More upgrade points needed. All right. Well, yeah, this is pretty neat. I don't know. I'll spend some more time with this. What, Oh, this is just the achievements. Very abrupt. For a game that can be so long-winded in all of its flourish, the quit button is just like, fucking see you later. Let's see if this camera stayed on this time. It did. Okay. I flipped the screen out. That should probably prevent it from automatically shutting down. Yeah, I don't know. I like Afterburner. Afterburner's not Afterburner is not a great game. I think it's a little like after all the years that have passed, I think Afterburner kind of ends up revealing itself to be a little overly simple. It's a little more flash than I thought it was as a kid. And as you dissect it and realize what's really going on, it's like, okay, yeah. But it's such a rad looking game. And Afterburner Climax, that's a cool game too. But I think as they try to recapture the origins of Afterburner in a newer game, it just sort of reveals itself as just like, okay, yeah, this is like you've added things to Climax to make it rad, but like stylistically, it's fucking amazing. It's incredible. And that carries it a long way. I think that's, a lot of games like that from that era, you could probably I mean, you could probably say the same thing about Space Harrier. Space Harrier is probably one of my favorite games of all time, but so much of that is for aesthetic reasons and not the video game that it is, you know? It's a great, like, audio visual experience. It is, yeah, there's a lot more variety there in the game itself, whereas Afterburner is just like, here's some more jets. I mean, look, I love Afterburner, but if we're being honest with ourselves, then Afterburner only goes so far. Yeah, you're right. It is a crime that Afterburner Climax is not it's something that you can play. You know, it got pulled down, but like, so it's full of licensed planes. So it's like the same reason why Forza Horizon gets delisted is, you know, Sega's not going to renew the license on the Lockheed Martin fucking jets or whatever they've got in there. And so that game is just gone. That's not something that they're just like, we just don't feel like porting it. It's like, no, like we would have to do licensing. Like, there's business involved in making Afterburner Climax come back. And that's just not something they're likely to do. Yeah, but you know, the pizza place that I went to had an Afterburner cabinet for a good long time, and you know, I played a lot of Afterburner. And why would you not? Honestly, though these these default controls are super fucked. We got to figure out which button is the missile button. There it is. Okay. So I got to use X and circle on the controller for guns and missile, and then I need to have a way to work the right stick to keep my speed up. Like, look at this. This is sick. Look at everything that's happening here. I think it's a little harder to appreciate these days, but I remember getting a hold of this game on, I guess it was the Master System. And like, it just had an option for auto fire. It was like, hey, do you want to hold the gun button down the entire time? I was like, yes, of course. It's Afterburner. Like, if you didn't do that, I would be doing that anyway. But they're like, no, there's not enough buttons on this controller for us to even have a gun button, so you should really, unless you want to never change your speed or something. It's really good music. I know this is like a really great era for Sega, right? I mean, you know, there's great music here. Outrun, Super Hang-On. I'm an Outride a Crisis man. That's a great. It's a great track. Not a lot of people. I don't know. I feel like no one talks about Outride a Crisis. But Afterburner, you know, it's a great font. It's an amazing set of fonts and just style from top to bottom. I always thought this was a cool little attract mode thing too, where it showed like the, you know, the mock-up of the joystick in game, and Like, yeah, I mean, here's what you do. You move like this. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, Galaxy Force is great. Yeah, is Galaxy Force is a great game. Is that? Can I easily play that here, or do I have to? Yeah, Galaxy Force 2. Is a neat fucking game.
Starship command to destroyers. Begin takeoff countdown. Roger.
But I don't remember what the controls were here. Is it the same basic concept as Afterburner, or do I even have a speed stick? It's been so long since I've seen a cabinet that I just... But this was, you know, this was the game that they put in those R360 cabinets that would rotate most of the way around, if I remember right. Which I only got to see that once. That was a CES thing. We're going to penetrate the enemy fortress, if you don't mind. Ah! Turn this up a little bit. This is like if you're playing that level in Thunder Force 3, but from a totally different perspective, man. It's something that, you know, it's something that we kind of lose nowadays, and the reasons for it are not, you know, like, of course, like, graphics have gotten so much better, and, you know, like, from an overall technical standpoint, but, like, this game has just a very particular look to it that, you know, was defined by the technology at the time, right? Nowadays, like, if you pursued this look, you could do it. And, you know, developers like that parking garage racing game that tries very hard to look like a Saturn game and does a really good job at looking like a Saturn game, right? It is just kind of that more of an aesthetic choice, you know, and going into development saying, I want to make a game that looks like a Saturn game and all of that. But, like, I don't know, there was a much greater variety in looks of games because of just the weird technology involved in making fucking crazy arcade cabinets in the 80s and 90s, you know? What I'm saying is, I'm going to port Galaxy Force 2 to Unreal Engine 5. How could these games not have achievements? What are we even doing? I grabbed a bunch. I don't even know what to even play because I just haven't had time to look through it. But I grabbed basically every DOS game that I could find in a package of DOS games. And now I have 600 gigabytes of DOS games, like this 1984 DOS version of Qbert. Oh, I bet this is good. Yep. These are all great noises. Time Globe. The characters of Qbert. Time Globe. On top of that, this is running way too fast, which is also fun. Oh, yeah. Yep. Which buttons would even control this thing? Oh, I wonder if they actually mapped it. I should... Yeah, they did. But it's running way too fast to be playable. Oh, DOSBox. Nope. Yep. Well, this was what? This was... We'll go with that. We'll go with a 286. That is not better. These are really good color choices for the very first level. As a colorblind person, let me tell you, the before and after on these don't look any different to me at all. Maybe that's true for you as well. I don't know. I don't know if they look like distinctly different or not, but like I don't think I've been up here. All right, we finished the level. We did it. All right, this is much easier. That's really weird, you know, like the completely unanimating Qbert. Oh, man. What else is in this list? Like, there's just so many games here that I've never heard of. Oh, there was one. What was it called? There was one I was playing the other day that was like ridiculous. Was that it? No. Was it? Yes, we found it. 1993's classic Supercyber. I don't know if you like cool original music, but strap the fuck in for Supercyber. "100% fabricado in España. Ojo el dato." Motherfucker, they made this robot in Spain! Look at this. Empressar, I guess. When in doubt, Empressar. It's like they somehow managed to make a fucking kind of shitty Amiga game for DOS. And just randomly giant rocks fall out of the sky, which is very tricky. Ugh. There was someone out there who downloaded this game off of BBS or something, and it was like their favorite game growing up. That's kind of the cool part about this. Is it's just like, this game's fucking ridiculous. But, you know, someone was like, no, dude, you don't understand. I found this fucking insane game from Spain. And sometimes rocks fall out of the sky. And if you push down, you can turn on a shield. Uh-oh. Oh, I had to get the E, and it cost me. Inscribe tus iniciales. Iniciales. It's Spain. It's Spain. Supercyber. Supercyber. I'm saying someone needs to remake Supercyber. I like this tune that they wrote for it. This is a good, like, it's very, like, I don't know, it feels like celebratory, but also military, you know? But futuristic? Yeah, they did a really great job with this song. Yeah. So yeah, you should get a hold of the DOSBox Pure Core, and you should grab yourself this ExoDOS collection, because there's just a bunch of fucking weird shit in it. Stuff that you, oh man. How would this even, well, let's find out. Sure. To switch CDs, press Control F4. Okay. Yes. Look at this. See text at the bottom of the screen. Read it carefully. Otherwise, everything is okay. Okay. Your CD-ROM drive is reading CDs faster than is possible. Yeah, SVGA. Yeah, I've got a quad speed CD-ROM or better. One might say. Oh, geez. Okay. I want to say it's 7. I want to say that this sets it to 7.
God, I love that boy spunk.
Did that guy just say, I love that boy spunk?
God, I love that boy spunk.
Yeah, okay, no. He's saying, God, I love that boy's spunk. Still, a very interesting choice. Very interesting choice for your test audio. Is that Malcolm McDowell saying, God, I love that boy spunk? No, dude, get him to say it. It'll be fucking hilarious. Unfortunately, my quad speed CD-ROM drive is faster than imaginable, and so it's running things too quickly. I was on the set of... I think it was this game. It might have not have been 3. It might have been 4. But I got to visit the set of Wing Commander when they were shooting some of the cutscenes. And we met Tom F. Wilson. You know, Maniac. Mark Hamill was not there. Not there that day. Malcolm McDowell was there briefly. I don't believe Ginger Allen was there. That is Ginger. Anyway, we could just try to force a specific. So let's try that. Maybe that will. Okay. The auto was just kind of under. Did I meet Chris Roberts? He may have been there. I don't remember one way or the other if Chris Roberts was there. I remember that Tom Wilson, Biff from the Back to the Future films, was there.
Empire. A puny contingent of their soldiers has been captured here on...
When you think about what Wing Commander 1 was and the scope of that production, and then by the time we get to 3, it's like this star-studded cast: Mark Hamill, Malcolm McDowell, Tom F. Wilson, and all of these like shot cutscenes, all of this FMV, all of this stuff. You see why Star Citizen might have happened. You see why someone who went in that direction and started going like, man, it's like we're fucking making movies here, dog. That would be like, all right, we're just going to keep going in this direction forever. And we found infinite money that will let us. But honestly, if Star Citizen came out and it was just dudes in fucking cat costumes making hologram dudes scream, that would be the best possible outcome. These were good games back at a time when people liked games like this. You know, people always say that they want more like space sims, that they want more games like Wing Commander, like X-Wing and TIE Fighter. But I feel like every time someone makes one, I don't know, maybe those games just aren't as good. You know, when people try to make modern takes on this game, it just feels like it never pans out. And I can't tell if it's because people have moved on and the genre is just a different thing now and whatever. But yeah, Star Wars Squadrons was rad. But yeah, I don't know. It's part of it is, you know. Oh yeah. Fuck you. I thought he was going to turn to the camera and say, "Do you want her to spit on you as well?" And I would say, "Yes, yes." No one wants to play escort missions. Like that's the dirty secret about all this stuff is you go back and play these games now. They can be some of these missions can be a little tough to stomach.
Peace. Have we ever known anything like that, Paladin?
Maybe a piece of ass, eh?
For a long time, laddie.
First the tiger's claw, now this.
Enough. You are not to blame.
Give me that boy spunk. What were we talking about?
This is Colonel Christopher Blair. Report to Admiral Tallwin. The wreckage of the Concordia has been located on Vespus off the Mistral coast. Evaluation.
Fucked.
Total loss.
You can't live your life for the approval of one man.
Any word from Angel?
None.
Is that the official line?
I know how much she means to you, laddie.
No, put the wipes in. We want those scene wipes too. We're gonna do the whole thing. We got the guy.
Excuse me, sir. Did you say the victory?
Is there something wrong with your hearing, Colonel?
No, sir. It's just that
The TCS Victory is a fine long history of service to the Confederation.
Yes, sir. A very long history, sir.
Ship assignments aren't open to debate, Colonel. Of course, I realize that the accommodations may not be what you're quite used to.
Well, sir, I didn't mean to suggest that.
The Victory will benefit greatly from having a wing commander of your stature and experience.
Thank you, sir. But can't we at least discuss the...
Now that we have the Kilrathi on the run in both the Gardel and Morpheus systems, I can afford to shift you to the Victory in Orsini. I am trying to tell you, Colonel, is that things are looking up. The Confederation has been making some very positive strides. Dismissed.
Sir, about my request.
Yes. But it came as a bit of a surprise to me. As you know, Colonel Devereaux's status is on a need-to-know basis. Your shuttle is waiting.
Yes, sir.
Dickhead. Fucking prick ass. Not gonna get any of this boy's spunk. With that attitude.
Despite recent losses in several densely populated sectors,
Dude, this just keeps going. There's so much video. This is so much video.
in its galactic struggle with the Karathi. However,
So much like kind of weird green screen video.
reporting of Karathi incursions, as well as civilian and industrial losses. There are even reports of confed plans for a doomsday evacuation of Earth.
And you look at this and you see why
In a distant galaxy.
Chris Roberts might want to keep making shit like this.
Who would go? Who would be left behind? And most importantly, who is making these decisions?
But it's been a long time since I played this. And when this came out, like I was having enough PC trouble. There was a while there that I could not figure out the IRQ situation, so I could not have CD-ROM and sound at the same time. Or digital audio. I could get MIDI, but and so I would end up having to play this game with like zero audio or just music, you know, and so I never ended up playing through this thing completely. Because by the time I eventually fixed it all, it just, you know, I'd moved on to other games.
Welcome to the TCS Victory, Colonel.
Thank you, Captain.
Better known as Tin Can Sally.
It warms my heart to see you again, Colonel. But I must excuse myself now, as your duty here takes precedence over our catching up on old times.
Thank you, Hobbs. We'll talk later.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. She's no Concordia.
Oh, neither's a Concordia anymore.
Word, true, yes, indeed.
My sympathies. However, you're in my home now, and I'll expect you to wipe your feet every time you come in.
Well, I'm a commander, don't I? Don't I outrank you? Hang on.
Most of my career, I was communications officer during a maiden voyage.
Well, sir, I'll admit I wasn't looking forward to the assignment, but now that I see you have a pilot as fine as Ralganar Hollis on your crew.
Hobbs? Yes, he's my second in command.
He's not flying?
At his request. I know all of his exploits with you, Colonel, but here no one will fly with a Karathi on his wing.
What about his exempt record? That must stand for something.
It was his request.
Captain Eisen, I'm not going to tell you how to run your ship, but I am going to insist that Hobbs is reinstated to the flight roster immediately.
Well, that's admirable, Colonel, but who...
I will, sir. I'll fly with him. He's the best wingman I've ever had.
Still a little glitchy. And then you cut to this blurry mess. And then this less blurry mess.
Welcome aboard, old friend. You're looking fine and fit.
Look at this.
Does this
Look
war
at
agree
this.
with you?
Yeah, like a pair of busted wing flaps. But it's great to see you, buddy.
And how is the fine pilot and Comrade Angel?
I don't have a clue. I haven't heard from her in a while. She's on some damn covert op for Tallwin. But hey, I got good news for you. I put you back on the fly roster.
But I requested...
Never mind that. I want you with me on my first mission.
Well, there are many brave and noble pilots here.
Yeah, but when my life's on the line, I want a wingman I can trust.
I shall try not to disappoint you, old friend.
Let's attend briefing. There's so much. There's so much.
Put that reputation of yours to the test. Confed intelligence tells us that the Karathi presence is growing here in the system. You and your wingman are to fly routine patrol of these 3 zones, sweep the area of any hostiles you may encounter. Understood?
Oh, so a mission in a Wing Commander game. Okay, I see what you've done. Yes.
So, these are the mission objectives. Oh, and one last thing. Hobbs, you're on my wing for this one. Dismissed, and good luck.
Chief Tech Rachel Coriolis, welcome to the Victory, Colonel. Heard you're flying with Hobbs on this one.
You got a problem with that, Chief?
You want to fucking fight me?
I think it's about time. That cat's one hell of a pilot. Here she is, one Hellcat 5. She's prepped, primed, loaded, locked, and ready to kick some ass.
Thanks. What about ordnance?
It's all taken care of. The captain downloads the mission specs to me. I dope out the weapons requirements, so you're set to go.
Oh yeah?
In the future, Colonel, you have the option of choosing your own weapons. Or you can trust my judgment and fly with my default loadout. I promise, Colonel.
You know, video
never to
game stuff.
disappoint.
It is weird sometimes to think of Mark Hamill, who, you know, we often celebrate as an extremely famous dude, sitting there listening to Rachel here with this like video game ass exposition about like you can trust my loadout. You can configure your weapons however you want, or trust my loadout. You know, video game. You know. Let's activate the main terminal. What does that even do? What is? Hello. All right, whatever. That's my call sign now, I guess. But Mark Hamill, you know, it's easy to forget that like Mark Hamill was like at a, you know, he hadn't done the Joker stuff yet, and so like there was this weird lull in the middle here where Mark Hamill was just doing a lot of weird stuff. I guess say Mark Hamill was just had a weird career.
Mitchell.
Wait, what? All right, you guys need to fucking, you Exodus people need to fucking reconfigure your fucking ISOs to be the actual ones and not Mystery Science Theater clips shouting Mitchell.
Sighted enemy craft, Colonel.
Oh God, how are these buttons configured? We'll never know. I mean, if Joe Don Baker was in this game, I could see it, but like, come on. And now we're fucking dogfighting, man. You know, for my money, it's always going to be TIE Fighter if I'm going to play a game like this. Like, if I'm going to return to the scene of these crimes and play these old-ass space sims, it's not going to be any of the Wing Commander games. Fire all guns, fuck it. We don't need energy. Let's see if we get any better performance here on one of these higher settings. Let's go to like a Pentium 1. Yeah, that is better. Oh, how do I autopilot to the next thing?
Attack my target.
Affirmative, Colonel.
Nope. There we go. It was not Alt-A, it was A.
Sighted enemy craft, Colonel.
Attack my target.
Affirmative, Colonel.
Wow, rude. What do we want? N for next target? Nope. Nope. That's cool though.
Attack my target.
Affirmative, Colonel.
Full guns, no missile. Gotta slow down. Yeah, so I mean, you know, they did a pretty good job of like mapping controls to a, you know, modern game controller.
What's your status?
I'm happy to report that I've suffered no damage.
Great. How do I return? Like, I don't have a target to... Like, objective, landing. Okay. Do I need to call and get a landing clearance? Is that the... Objective takeoff cleared to launch. What did I do? Oh, God. Oh, there we go. Where am I autopiloting to? Where is it even taking me? Like do I need to get closer to the base in order to call it? There we go.
Need clearance, TCS Victory.
Excellent work, Colonel. I can see now that your reputation is well deserved.
You cleared for landing, Colonel.
It's neat, especially like, I feel like most of the Wing Commander I played prior to this was actually like the SNES version because I just didn't have a PC, And so by the time I got a PC, this game was getting ready to come out.
Pretty slick flying, sir.
Thanks, Chief.
And now we're back here. Get this same little video of him walking up and... Oh, man. The screens.
Congratulations, old friend.
Yeah, just like old times, huh?
I must say, it certainly felt good to be back out there again. My gratitude for your trust in me is endless.
Forget it, Hobbs. You're back where you belong now.
Anyway. All right, now in this scene, you're going to stand here and then you're going to turn and walk, and it's going to be like you were getting onto an elevator. Huh? 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 Huh?
Lieutenant Rollins, comm exec, welcome aboard. You get the pep talk from the captain yet?
Something like that.
Well, the good news is it won't take too long to shower off the bullshit around here.
Whoa! This is a video game, son.
His ship and his crew. And that kind of attitude's good for morale.
Yeah, well, you haven't been monitoring transmissions like I have. If you did, you would jump sector in a nano.
Play along with him. This guy's a loon. Play along with him. Play along. Play along. Play along. Play along. Play along.
This is how you get that boy spunk I think we were talking about earlier.
This guy's a loon. Play along. Are you saying Command's hiding something from us?
Well, I can't say for sure, Colonel. If you want the straight dope around here, you check in with Radio Rollins. Might even save your life.
Well, I do love the straight dope. Living level. Living level. I think you could make the argument that this is too much, And it's probably good that games did not continue down this path. Oh, I'm so racist against these cat dudes.
Hey, Hobbs. How about going around with me? Bet you a week's pay on one hand.
Thank you. No.
You just sitting at a table playing a guitar, huh? Very normal behavior. Hey, why do you suck so much?
At ease, Lieutenant. Carry on.
Sorry, keep fucking playing.
Vaquero from the Celeste system. You can tell a lot about a system from its music, Some places it's all minor chords. Makes you just want to run out and do a suicide mission. but this is bright. Heats your blood, makes you want to live a long life.
Now, are you a pilot, Lieutenant, or a musician?
Oh, I'm a pilot, sir. A pretty good one, too. Check my kill scores. But my family, they made guitars for many generations.
I only want to work with Maniac.
That one that's almost 200 years old. The sound just keeps getting richer.
You keep talking all you want.
Someday, I'm gonna open a cantina, bring in the best to play that guitar. Place for old
This
fighter
guy's a
guys like you and
loon.
me.
Well, you better line up some other customers. Might not be many of us left.
Oh yeah, it'll be open to one and all. And me, I'll just sit back, gaze at the beautiful women, and listen to the music.
Sounds good to me. He's not focused. Sounds good to me. He's not.
I appreciate the choice of having him utter the line of dialogue every time you make this move.
Sounds good to me. He's not. Sounds good to me.
Modern video games should have more opportunities for shit like this.
Sounds good to me. He's not. Sounds good. He's not. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Where you can do that type of dumb shit.
Hang on to it.
You bet, sir. Some of these guys, they actually like the killing. Me? I'll just walk away when this is all over.
Well, I'd like to walk away now. All right. All right, Wing Commander. Video games. It's easy to forget like that era, you know, like the and I guess I'm not even really saying that era, because it's not like there were a ton of games that were doing that, you know, like that were like, it wasn't like Wing Commander 3 touched off a huge rush of that type of FMV. I mean, certainly there were other FMV games, right? I guess the thing with Wing Commander 3 is it was a franchise before that, right? And so they had a really solid foundation, like a really solid ass video game there already. And so when they got to this point where they're like, no, dude, we're gonna fucking shoot a movie. It's like, okay, a lot of games shot a lot of fucking really dumb fucking movies and made a lot of awful video games in the process. But this is still a Wing Commander sequel, and they still fill it full of all of that space sim stuff, and it feels good, and it looks good for its era, and whatever else. And so, in a weird way, Wing Commander 3 is this... I'm hesitant to call it singular, because obviously there was a Wing Commander 4, and, you know, there was probably some games I'm forgetting, but, like... there's just not a lot out there like it. Even in that era where we saw all of the FMV games that came and went, the multimedia era and everything else. And, you know, obviously, you know, Origin became an EA property around this time, right? This was kind of in that zone. And, you know, they had other games, like Crusader had some FMV in it, but nothing like this. And it's probably for the best, you know. They this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. Like, you know, if you want that much video, I don't know that I ever was in a position where I would have wanted a lot of video. You know, Command & Conquer had Command & Conquer had a lot of video, but it wasn't this big interactive thing of walking around and talking to people. It was like very straightforward. Here's your mission briefing. It's going to be a minute 30. Here's a tight fucking 90 seconds of Kane being Kane, and you're going to watch it and be fucking stoked, and then you're going to go out there and click on stuff. And all that stuff's amazing, right? I mean, I think, yeah, like that era of Command & Conquer is so good. I mean, those games are so good too, but, you know, the video is so much fun. The briefing videos are so much fun. Like if they had made that where you could walk around a GDI base, you know, walk around the Nod base and then click on Kane and all, you know, that would have been maybe that would have been cool. But, you know, you didn't need it. What they put into it was the exact right amount. Wing Commander 3, it's a lot to come back to after all these years, you know? They get their talk on for real. Like, there's a lot to do between missions, and I bet if you strip out... I bet if you released a version of this that fit onto 4 floppy disks or something and said, well, we cut out all the FMV because it wouldn't fit in our hot rip, that's a pretty short game. I don't know. I had forgotten all about Wing Commander 3, you know? It really kind of puts, I mean, you know, like you look at this game and look at the excess on display. And maybe that's a shitty thing, but you know, like it's cool, but it is excessive. And you look at the Chris Roberts career path and the movie and, you know, like everything that happened with Wing Commander and how big a deal Wing Commander seemed like for a little while there. And then, you know, I think EA reached a point where they were just not going to fund another one of those. And I wonder if all of that experience that he gained in filmmaking, whether it's good or bad, you know, like we can debate that separately. But you have to imagine that, like, Chris Roberts coming out of this experience of making these 2 Wing Commander games that have all this video in it, and making the Wing Commander, like, really going for it in a minute, like for a minute there, where they're like, no, we're making a movie. Like, okay, no, we're getting Matthew Little. No, we're doing this thing. I think it's you start to see a potential path of why Star Citizen happened. Because it wouldn't be too long after this that this whole genre just fell out of favor. We'd get to like what? Like Homeworld? You know, Freelancer, you know, you'd have those kind of like late era versions of it, of the space sim. But it isn't much longer after this that the whole thing just crumbles and people just don't want that type of game anymore. You know, I think even after TIE Fighter, like we get to like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, or like X-Wing Alliance, like those games are not nearly as successful. As actual fucking TIE Fighter was. You know, they tried to add multiplayer, they tried to do this, but it, you know, they were ahead of their time with multiplayer. Like, people didn't have good enough internet for that to work as well as it needed to, and whatever else. And just, you know, for whatever reason, and I don't know what that reason is. Like, were the games not as good anymore? I mean, surely, you know, I don't think it got better than TIE Fighter, personally. So, as far as I'm concerned, everything that happened after TIE Fighter was worse. But I know people love Freelancer 2. I always... That was at a time when I wasn't really playing a lot of PC games, you know, when a game like that was coming out. But people did love that game. Like, that game is probably the high water mark for the genre as a whole. But it never happened after that. It just never, you know, I don't know. Like, the whole thing kind of crumbled. And so you know, that it's easy to see the appeal, and that was the original pitch for Star Citizen. And the original pitch for Star Citizen makes a ton of sense, right? Where you're like, hey, I'm Chris motherfucking Roberts. I made these fucking games. I think we should make more games like that, and I want to make one like that, and I want to make it and bigger than better than ever. And you have the people. There's always those people, and you know, you don't talk about them as much anymore because the crowdfunding era has been beat to death, and people have been scammed, and you know, like all the other stuff that's happened. But there was a time when you had a lot of people that would say, I would pay $100 for that game. Like, if they would just make another one of these, I would give them whatever they asked for it. And Chris Roberts said, word? Oh, yeah? Come with me on a journey for the next 25 years. Or however fucking long it's been. And some of them are still right there. Some of them are right there. Still pumping money into that thing, right? But it's easy to see, you know, because it is one of those genres. The same way when Double Fine said, hey, we want to make a point-and-click adventure game and we know that those aren't cool anymore, so we're going to crowdfund it. You know, it was the same exact thing. It was like, hey, we are people who made a lot of the games you love in this genre that doesn't exist anymore, so give us money and we'll make one. Double Fine just did it on a much different scale. I mean, the Double Fine crowdfunding story is a weird one too, but on the scale, they shipped that game. Whether you like that game or not, you know, hey. But they made that game. They eventually put that game out. Star Citizen still seems like it is like, I'm surprised that Star Citizen hasn't fallen into some nightmarish cryptocurrency hole, that it didn't just become like an NFT, like rug pull or something like that they managed to stay away from that, because I imagine it must have been tempting. It was like, oh, we could raise more money, like, oh, I guess we could, I don't know, we're gonna launch Citizen Coin and we're gonna and then we're really gonna get a lot of money, and then I don't know. What a fucking weird time. And a weird time for games right there with Wing Commander, and then everything else that happened after that. Yeah, Red Phoenix is right. They don't need NFTs because they already sell useless digital assets. Yeah. NFTs, why would they put it on the blockchain? The only reason they would put it on the blockchain is because that was a hot thing there for a minute with dopes, with idiots, with fucking clowns that have money to burn. So if they had put it on the blockchain, then, you know, a bunch of fucking rubes would have rolled up and said, I love the blockchain. This is a hot investment, you know? And so, you know, on some level, you have to admire their restraint up to this point. But hey, they've still got another 20 years to work on Star Citizen. So we'll see what they end up doing with it. You know, what they end up doing with it long term. Crazy to think about. Crazy to think about that Star Citizen is still somehow in alpha. They're announcing sub games and other parts of the game, and the main game is never even done. And there's, you know, like, yeah, what are they? They're like another, probably a month away from announcing 3 more. Like, we're doing an RTS now. You know, like they're just gonna find whatever different pockets of funding they can come up with, and people go like, oh, you're gonna do an RTS in space? I will show up and give you $1,000 for that, or whatever. Visual novel, whatever. And then Squadron 42 will something, who knows. There's what is it, Eve Vanguard. Speaking of getting suckered into games I have no business ever fucking looking at, I was looking at Eve Vanguard, which I don't know when it's coming out or anything, but they're billing it as an MMO first-person shooter set in the Eve universe. Obviously, they have tried to do shooters in this universe before with, what was it, Dust 514 and some of that other shit. But I'm like looking at the Steam page for Eve Vanguard, and there's not a lot of information there, so I'm filling in the blanks with my stupid brain, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going like, you know, this kind of sounds like PlanetSide. And you know what I could go for is a modern PlanetSide, because I don't want to play PlanetSide 2, because PlanetSide 2 was kind of never good. But PlanetSide 1 had a good couple of years here where PlanetSide was fucking rad. And I have not tried PlanetSide 2 in a long time. I know they've done a lot to it over the years, but I feel like every time I load up PlanetSide 2, I'm just like, It's probably been 4 years or something since I played PlanetSide 2, but so maybe I'm due. But yeah. The thing about PlanetSide is when PlanetSide kind of started crumbling a little bit, Because it was a brief window where Planetside was super hot, and then suddenly the population just wasn't quite what it was. And so it was a lot of like, oh, I'm going to stay up late tonight, and then I'm just going to go take all this territory by myself because there are no other human players on the server right now, which was like a neat trick, right? You're just like, oh, it's 2 a.m, and so I'm going to just walk across this territory and take every base for the red faction, and ha 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 ha. And then when I wake up the next morning, it will all be blue again, and I'll be like, well, I guess I gotta wait till 2 a.m. and do it again, because I'm not gonna go work with a bunch of other players and play the game for real. That's no fun. I've got enough certs that I can just do it myself if I do it late at night. So yeah, I don't know. It was a silly game. It was a silly fucking game. And Planetside 2, I felt like never really captured any of the... well, when I was trying Planetside 2, which was a long time ago, it just felt like it never really captured any part of the thrill of the early days of Planetside 1. And so, like a sucker, now I'm looking at Eve Vanguard and going, I think there's a real desire on my part, or just like every, like Eve Online is something that is lost. It's for sickos. It's for absolute lunatics. I'm never going to play Eve Online. That ship sailed over a decade ago. But what if I could carve out my own little part of the Eve universe and do something dumb? And so the idea of a new first-person shooter, I'm like, maybe I could do something there. I don't know. Like, everyone wants to have a game like Eve where they are experiencing the crazy stories of Eve. I don't know if this game will even attempt to have anything on that level, right? Because all the Eve Online stories are like, all the really good Eve Online stories are, I fucking snuck over to that dude's house and shut off the power to his house so that I could fucking steal his ship. It's like all the really nefarious cool shit. And I doubt that Eve Vanguard will have that level of fucking ridiculousness. But anyway, I'm going to get going. I'll be back on Friday to rank some 8-bit Nintendo games. You can help build the list for this week's show. If you join the Gerstmann Advisory Panel today, you can go to patreon.com/Jeff Gerstmann and sign on up and suggest some games for Friday. And we'll rank some more stuff. That'll be episode 70. Jesus. Ridiculous. Having Twitch chat in the teleprompter is actually kind of cool. Keeps me. I'm locked in. I hate this camera angle. The camera angle changed because the teleprompter moved the camera back, and it's a bit of a different shot now. And I need to fuck with it. There's just maybe a little too much fucking headroom. A little too much headroom. But yeah. I'll be back on Friday. We'll do some stuff then. See ya.